Hey all, Steve G here, ready to talk you through my experience with the Via Rail Artists on Board program, and hopefully you might take some tips away that'll help you out. Very few online things have done it expressly from the Artists on Board point of view, so hopefully you'll get something off of this. Thanks for watching. First off, I'd like to sort of just walk you through the application. If you're an artist and you're interested in being the Via Rail onboard artist, it's as simple as going to the Via Rail website, finding the Artist on Board program application, and clicking on it, as you see here. Once you submit your application, and you'll find out in a couple of weeks if you've been accepted or not, and once you've been accepted, then you start interacting with the Via Rail folks responsible for the program, and you'll just go from there. So for me, in my travels, I chose to travel from Toronto to Vancouver and return. Because I live in Kingston, Ontario, I had to get to the station in Toronto. I worked with Via. They gave me a deal to take the train from Kingston to Toronto. I did have to pay for that, but because I was working with this program, they gave me a discount in order to do that. So I took the train from Kingston to Toronto, spent the night overnight in Toronto because I didn't want to risk taking an early morning train and things getting messed up. So me personally, I took a train the night before and then chose to stay in Toronto overnight in order to board the Canadian the next day. The checking in process at Toronto was absolutely brilliant. You just go to the Via Lounge, which everybody has access if you're taking the Canadian. So all the passengers and crew will be in the Via Lounge. You go to the front desk, tell them you're the onboard artist. Someone will grab you and walk you through everything you need, and then including cabin assignment and looking up for your dinner reservations. So everything in that front you're immediately taken care of, kind of front to back. First thing I'd like to talk about is location of your cabin on the car. On the initial way going from Toronto to Vancouver, I got very lucky. They positioned my cabin just in forward of lounge car, where the primary coordinator was her station, and I was able to immediately just kind of leave my cabin, walk into the lounge car and meet with her anytime and coordinate what time shows might be. So again, Via will pick what cabin you go to, but if you have the chance to ask about it, being closer to the entertainment coordinator is going to pay benefits, save you running back and forth half the length of the train when you're trying to set up schedules and things like that. It may seem like obvious, but you definitely want to be prepared. I mean, most onboard artists are probably guitarists, so again, anything you need, extra batteries, plenty of extra strings, maybe a couple capos if you're a capo person, but just again, there's no place to shop or get anything. My first long stop was Winnipeg, and it was in the middle of the night at like 2 a.m. So again, really no option to kind of dash out to a store to get anything. So you definitely need to be self-contained. I initially thought about taking 2 guitars. For a lot of when shows and stuff, I try to take a backup guitar. I opted not to, just took the 1 guitar and everything worked out for me. But certainly, if anything had happened to the guitar, my performance would have been euchred. There would be nothing left, no options left for me to do other than karaoke to something off of YouTube. In the contract, it explicitly states that you're not able to like sell anything. So if you've got CDs, records, whatever it is, you can't bring any of that stuff on board to sell or really promote yourself. So you have to kind of get creative, and if you want to do some promotion. I made some business cards with a QR code on it that people could access my online material, whether it be a website, an album, whatever it is. But business cards you can just hand out everywhere. I actually printed 1,000 through Vistaprint and just left essentially cards everywhere I went. My name's Steve G. I put some cards out on the table. I actually have sort of formal stuff out on radio, and if you want to listen to it. But next, I'd like to talk about scheduling your trip. This is a big, beautiful country, and you have opportunities to do some things. I was kind of between a couple of different work schedules, so I just booked the 10 days straight. I left Toronto, went to Vancouver, overnighted Vancouver one night, was back on the train at 3 o'clock the next day, and came all the way back to Toronto. If I did this again, I would love to build in some time to either stay in Vancouver or maybe Jasper, build some days in to explore a little bit, and then get back on the train and finish it off. So again, you can coordinate your schedule with VIA once you've been accepted to the program. Once you get into your cabin, the best way I can describe it is that is a constant game of Tetris. So for the VIA Rail Onboard Artist program, they offer you a cabin for two, which in my opinion is ideal for one person. Heyo, Steve G, finally on the Canadian. We're just rolling out of Toronto and tuning up old Elvina here. So looking forward to finding out what great adventures come across Canada. You are allowed to take a second person, so if you have a significant other or a friend, whatever you want, you can absolutely bring them with you. I did not. And I found that the cabin for two was an ideal place for one person, and I could tune the guitar, I could practice some sets. Yeah, that just leaves me to play. It's my mom tried. Happy Mother's Day. Whatever you need to do next, you have to put something away. So when you go to bed, the chairs fold down. You can actually put your guitar in the closet. You have the space. So here's how it looks with the bed down. Pretty decent. If you had two, the other one would pop down. Certainly reduce your amount of room, but like I said, it's pretty decent for one. You're working your guitar around things. The guitar does fit in the closet. So again, if you have one guitar, it'll go away in the closet just fine. If you're traveling with two guitars, you need to find kind of storage for one of them. You're gonna want to bring some comfy, just in-room clothes, pajama type stuff, pajama pants, t-shirt, and some slippers that will let you walk out without having to get full boots or shoes on. Relationship with your entertainment directors. So the VIA crew changes halfway. So in Winnipeg, when we stop in Winnipeg, the crew changes. So you'll work primarily with two different directors on each leg. So you just develop a relationship with them. They'll take care of you. Get to know them a little bit. Let them know who you are. And they'll be your hype person before your shows, and then they'll coordinate between the various sections of the train on where you're going to go. So for me, it ended up being a daily schedule where I would play in the lounge car in economy at 11:30. I would play in the lounge car in sleeper class at 2:30 in the afternoon, and then I would play in prestige class at 4:30 in the afternoon. So each set roughly an hour, sometimes depending on if I got into good stories with people who were there, it would go on for maybe a lot longer than an hour. But that was the great part when people started interacting with you. You don't really care about the time. You have no place to be, and everybody's just on the train together. So it's a good time.
I fell into a burning ring of fire. Yeah, down, 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 up that ring got higher. And it burns, burns, burns. The ring on fire. That ring on fire.
Need to talk about the feeding schedule. The feeding schedule is done in 3 sittings. So part of your coordination with the entertainment directors is when you're going to do your shows versus when you're eating. Anyway, it just is a reality of living on the train. There's 3 sittings per meal. That way everybody gets dinner and you get to choose your own. So you can best pick whatever sitting works for you, depending on when you're scheduling your shows.
Campfire, coffee from a tin cup in my hand. Lord, it sure warms fingers when it's cold. Playing an old guitar, a friend I understand. Lord, it sure smooths the wrinkles in my soul. Oh, sleeping in the moonlight, a blanket for a bed. Lord, it leaves a peaceful feeling in my mind. Waking up in the morning.
The showers. So the showers, unless you're in prestige class, which is part of the Artists on Board program, if you're just doing that, you're not. You're in a sleeper class. You have your own bathroom and sink in the cabin for 2, but the showers are down the hall, so you have to get down. All right, this is the shower. Come in, push the button on, control, warm. I would basically wake up early in the morning, so about 4 in the morning, 4 to 5 in the morning, before sort of the other passengers would be up and about. I'd go and grab my shower early and then just go back to my room and kind of nap until breakfast. The good thing is you don't have to pack any shower equipment. They have towels, soap, everything you need for your showers is constantly replenished. So you use a towel, it goes in the used towel bin in the shower room, and you have clean towels every day. Spoke about toilets already. In this the sleeper class, the cabin for 2, you do have your own toilet, which is very nice. So you can kind of have your own space. They are sensitive though, so they will have many announcements about what not to put in a toilet. And if a toilet in your car affects the system, it's possible that all the toilets in your car will be affected. So, and if you choose to do this experience in the winter, just be aware that there is kind of a history of the toilets freezing up. And there were some people that I traveled with on the train, either the crews or other passengers who had traveled in the winter and have had some pretty bad experiences with toilets freezing up. So part of the reason why I chose to do my trip in the spring was because I didn't trust Canada at -40 being in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know how the toilets worked, but I just generally had an understanding that probably the cold was worse. So again, I'm not saying don't do it in the winter, just be aware that there can be more complications. So you'll hear this announced all the time. The tracks across Canada are shared between VIA and Canadian Pacific and Canadian National. Freight in this country has priority, so there's plenty of times that we are pulled aside, sitting on the tracks and waiting for freight trains to go by. It just is a factor of life. On the way out, by the time we got to Winnipeg, because of these delays, we were 5 or 6 hours behind schedule. But through the nights traveling west, the train happened to make up time, and we got into Vancouver right on time. So, you might be halfway across the country and think you're 6 to 8 hours behind. Don't sweat it. So I guess the only point to that is don't make any strict timings for the end of when the train is coming into either Vancouver or Toronto. Give yourself at least half a day. I would encourage, don't have anything that you need to do that day. Plan to do something, whatever it is, the next day, just to give you that benefit. Otherwise, if everything works on time, no worries. But if it doesn't, and you end up 8, 10, 12, I've even heard of 24 hours behind, then it can ruin whatever plans you have on the back end of it. Just to be aware of, there's train time and there's real time. Of course, as you travel across the country, you're going to go through different time zones. The train doesn't actually change its time necessarily exactly when the time zone changes. They will choose an arbitrary time during the day to change the time in order to facilitate the feeding schedules. So you have to be aware that the train time might change at a different time than when you actually cross a provincial border, where the time would actually change in reality. How this affects you as the artist is that you could be in the middle of a show and now all of a sudden it's an hour later or an hour earlier, and it affects your next timing. So again, it's a conversation you have with the entertainment director. You plan your schedule and understand you build in the buffers for any time changes depending on if you're traveling east or west. One thing to be aware of is that Via Rail does not have Wi-Fi. Okay, so the only internet connections you'll have is when you are close to cities, towns, whatever, where there is a cell signal. If you need to work up songs, you're going to need to have a few materials. Phones are the only thing that connect to the internet because there's no Wi-Fi. So whatever materials you use, you're going to need to use the phone to make connections when you have them. So if you're working on songs, just be aware of that. Across the prairies, there's a lot of vast empty land, and through the mountains of the Rockies, there's a lot of, rock barriers between towns. So be prepared to go extended periods of time with no internet communications. So aside from just being able to not necessarily communicate with friends and loved ones, if you're relying on the internet to say download music, to if somebody's requested a song that you don't have and you're researching it, you're downloading it, whatever, you might not have a connection to do that. So again, any support that you use in your music and your production, it's got to be standalone and be able to. So either hard copy paper, download it onto whatever device you're using, or if you have 2 million songs in your brain and can do everything by memory, then away you go. On the subject of devices, okay, if you're using devices, then stay on top of kind of keeping them charged up. So you'll only have the one kind of outlet in your room. For me, I had my phone, my iPad, and my computer that I used for various things. So it's kind of there was almost always something plugged in, just to make sure that I didn't have two or all three of my devices needing charged at the same time. So I'll talk a little bit about performances, how you're going to be scheduled. You're going to work those out with the coordinators. And like I said, my performances, they were scheduled 3 a day, 1 in each class: economy, sleeper, and prestige. I brought with me entirely prepared sets, but again, be flexible. I really enjoyed, and I think one of the best aspects of this experience is the interactions you get to have with the people on board. There were a lot of foreign tourists on board with my trip. So a lot of requests for various types of country music. So yeah, I just because I had something prepared that was going to be 50 minutes of music, easily make the switch to something else that the crowd might be more into. So again, come prepared, but be flexible, because your audience will definitely appreciate that.
My album in Calgary, I came back to Ontario and I went, maybe it'd be cool if I could do something, closer. And I don't mind coming to Calgary, but from that album I got some notice, and actually this producer reached out to me, and Radar Love Records is owned by Canadian icon, the drummer for Glass Tiger, Michael Hansen's his name. And he reached out to me and said he'd like to do some work with me, and this was the result of that. It's called Ordinary Man, and it's out on all the streaming services. Well, I'm proud of the things that I've seen and done. Never been a bullet in another man's gun. Clock is ticking, there's a whole lot of work to get done. I wake up like I'm made of granite stone, carry this weight like I'm 100 years old. Wanna hit the road 1,000 miles an hour. That's the way I roll, and I like that way. Maybe gonna live to see another day. Gonna catch the wind in my hands, stop the thunder where it stands. Sign of the times, great things, ordinary man. Gotta catch the wind in my hands, forge a diamond from these sands, being on the road, code of an ordinary man. There's a place inside of the dream I had, shadow of a place where people come back, place where you fight and know you just can't win. Now carry on, not a plan in sight, being back home and it never felt right. Gonna catch the wind in my hands, trap the thunder where it stands, sign of the times, great things from an ordinary man. Gonna catch the wind in my hands, forge a diamond from these sands, being on the road is the cold, ordinary man. Whoa, whoa, just an ordinary man. Thank you.
The audience will be varied. Again, the audience is people on the train. They got no place to go, and not everybody may appreciate your particular style of music. So a little way, to interact. Maybe if you walk into a lounge car, there may be people just sitting there because getting out of their seats or their cabins or whatever, and if they weren't paying attention to the announcements, they might not even know that you were there. They just see you come in with a guitar or whatever instrument that you're particularly playing, and they might not know what you're up to at all. So if you just kind of start playing music, they may think you're just another passenger, annoying them, or you can kind of introduce yourself, make a little interaction. The coordinators themselves, they'll be busy, so they won't actually kind of be there right there at the moment. They occasionally might be, but you have to assume that kind of you're on your own. They'll give you the time and place to be. You show up, start doing your thing, say hello to everybody, explain why you're there, and go into it and have fun with whoever's there. And I guess my final point on all that would be is it helps a lot if you're able to do crowd work. So if you can interact with folks, get them kind of involved, then each session's going to be just that much better. Thank you.
Well, sometimes people ask you, why you do stuff. And over my careers, I was in the Army, I was a firefighter, had uniforms for volunteer paramedic, I did Coast Guard Auxiliary. So somewhere along the line, somebody said, women like a man in uniform. So I took everything they had a uniform. So I don't know if it worked or not, but people will say, why'd you pick up guitar? And any male who tells you they picked up a guitar for any reason other than to impress a girl, they're lying.
Another thing I'd like to talk about is transition between locations with your guitar. All right, the hallways are actually very narrow, so carrying a guitar even in a case like this is very impractical because you can't go around the sharp turns. So you have to figure out a way to kind of carry it upright. I took one of those simple gig bags that is like a backpack. So it's put it on my back and would walk back and forth the train. That way, now because that actually was on my back, it was, if I met someone in a hallway, we couldn't just go side to side and pass each other. We would one of us would have to duck out. So hopefully there'd be a room, a door, some of the places in between cars. Very rarely did one of us have to back up, but sometimes you do have to do that. Just be aware that the hallways are very tight and does not lend themselves well. And when you are doing kind of like, as I explained, into the 3 different sections, on my train, it was a 21 car train. So, if my cabin was in the center and I was going forward to economy class, well, there was 10 or 12 cars that I had to walk through carrying a guitar. So, and while the train is rocking. So be aware that, you're going to get bounced back and forth too, which, for country folks or for other folks who might have a hat, I brought my cowboy hat with me. And I brought it in a cowboy hat carrying case because if you walk down the aisles with your hat on, you'll be bashed back and forth from side to side and you'll end up friggin' ruining your hat. So if you are of country background and you do have a hat, then I highly recommend you bring a protective case to carry it in and only put it on once you're settled into do your set. Speak briefly about setting up. Just be aware, there's nowhere comfortable. The lounges are tight, and lounge is a strong word, but they have tables and stuff, and the tables aren't movable. So you're trying to get into a seat and kind of it's pressed against you and that kind of stuff. So you
like an unknown stranger. Grateful for my time with no regrets. Close to my destination, tired, frail and naked, waiting patiently for the sun to set.
There you find a seat, and you might be holding the guitar at kind of a bit of an odd angle, or something's in the way. But the best place, or the kind of the freest open spaces that there are in the Prestige, the park car they call it. There is lots of room there. Been in a few bars and places, and it's like kind of riding a bucking horse. So you just gotta get your hips into it, and yeah, all right. That's right. Lay a long time forgot, dreams that just fell by the way. All the good life we promised ain't good like she's living today. But she never complains for the good things or bad things he's done. She just talks about the good times they've had, all good times to come. She's a good-hearted woman in love with a good times man. Oh, she loves him in spite of those one ways she don't understand. The rest of the cars, you're either at a table and chair kind of thing, which those are a bit better, but in the lounge where there's kind of curved seats and that kind of stuff, those tables don't move. So it's again another bit of Tetris, I guess I would say. From the dome, Lord, to Saskatoon, there's Confederation Bridge, and there's Butternut Ridge, there's Sudbury, man, and the Sioux. Well, I've lived in the Lakeland, I've been to the Badlands, I've head smashed in Buffalo Jump too. Well, I've been snowed in for days on the Trans-Canada Highway. Man, let me tell you what, that was in the month of June. Would you believe that? But this is our home. Yeah, this is our home. Oh, this is our home. Yeah, this is our home. This is our home. Woo. Thanks very much. You will, again, have to go to various parts of the train. So you definitely want to have that strong connection with your coordinator, your entertainment director, to understand where you're going, what you're doing, and what time. Because sometimes they might just kind of say, hey, just go up there, but have them call the entertainment director or the bartender, whatever, in the other car. So they have their walkie-talkie system on board. So you're going to have there's going to be the senior entertainment director. That's who you're going to deal with. But they have two others. So there's one in each of the lounge cars. Have the person that you're coordinating with call them on the radio to make sure that the schedule works. So if you decide you're going to do something at 2:30, if you just talk that out with the senior one and they don't actually let the person know, and you just show up at 2:30 with your guitar, they may have some other event planned. So actually, be there in the moment, talk with the senior entertainment rep, and have them make the radio call that yes, you are the musician is going to come, at this time. Does that work for you? And if it doesn't, then you can work out, when it does for you and them. and just work out the schedule that way. My final piece of advice, I think, is if you are only going one way, I would choose to fly to Vancouver, get on the train, and come back east. I really enjoy doing both. Like, since I'm here in central Canada anyway, it was easy for me to get on the train, travel to the west coast of Canada, and then come back home. All the while getting to play music. If your schedule or whatever it is that you want to do, if you only wanted to do this one way, I would recommend going to Vancouver flying and then take the train back east. The reason I say that is when you're going west, again, depending if the train's on schedule and what time of year you're at, you are likely going to end up in the mountains, in the Rockies, in the dark. And going through the Rockies is by far the most beautiful part of this trip. In fact, sometimes getting to see some of the views is probably might actually interrupt some of the your scheduling of your shows, because there are things that the train crews point out to people, and they'll set them up so that they have their cameras and everything ready. They'll be up in the observation cars and everything like that. So anyway, don't worry about that. You know, they're here for the entire experience. But if you are only going to go one way, I'd recommend going to Vancouver, because from Vancouver to Jasper, you will get that in the daylight, no matter what time of year you're at. So at least you'll get to do that. And speaking of Jasper, you do get to stop in Jasper for a full hour. You get to get off the train. You can walk the entire town of Jasper in the hour. Get something to eat, although you don't really need anything to eat per se, because the food on board the train is amazing. But just a way to stretch your legs, you know, if there's something different you want, if you wanted to grab some wings, then you could do that in Jasper. So,
Welcome home. Well, I heard it said you can't go back. Once you've gone down a one-way track, but those steel rails, man, they don't know all the way you take when you go. Well, thank you very much, folks. Thank you. That was a lot of fun.
We enjoyed it. I hope you did.
Man, this is, I mean, I was thinking when this, came up, and I was like, the timing and everything is so perfect. What a Canadian thing to do, eh? Take the train across the country.
anyway, folks, thanks very much for watching my video. Hopefully there's some pointers from this if you choose to be the onboard artist with VIA. Best of luck. Enjoy the trip. I definitely would recommend doing this. It's a great way to see Canada, a great way to just share your music and maybe make some new fans. Enjoy.